Hello, I'm Kristina Zachary with the Zachary team. We're here back for another video. As I say we, Gabriel is always behind the camera. Everybody say hi to my wonderful husband, Gabriel. So we are here at the Chamber of Commerce in the heart of downtown. We're actually about to interview Oliver Garnier with the Chamber of Commerce. So we want to show you guys the unique property. We want to have you guys talk to Oliver. We're going to do a wonderful interview. You guys don't want to miss it. If you're an entrepreneur or you own a business here, you need to get a part of the Chamber of Commerce, and I'm here and he's here to tell you all about it. Like I said, I'm here with Oliver. He is the consultant for the Chamber of Commerce. So Oliver, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started into the Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah, awesome. So I'm Oliver Garnier. I'm with the San Antonio Chamber of Commerce. We're located in this beautiful downtown district right off Commerce and Alamo Plaza. I've been with the Chamber for about a year and a half. Just kind of wanted to ingratiate myself within the community and serve businesses and entrepreneurs all around town and see what we can do to advocate for them. So
the first time we met you was actually here for ribbon cutting.
Yes.
You showed me the information store?
Yeah, so this is our
little
little
visitor
all in
center.
Here? Yeah, so we have a lot of people that come in off the street that are visiting San Antonio, kind of want to get some information. So we allow a lot of our members to, bring some of their promotional products, just things to show around town. Here's different things to do, from our membership guide to our relocation guide, which is two things that we produce here in-house. Those are for individuals that are looking to relocate to San Antonio.
So what is the coolest thing in your opinion in this spot? I know the Spurs are a big one, but maybe something else stands out to you.
The funny thing about the chamber, and you'll see downstairs, we call it the dungeon. We always say there's a bunch of loot in the dungeon. You can go and open up a random drawer and see Fiesta medals from like 30 years ago.
Really?
So it's really, really special.
Very cool.
It's hard to pin one thing on it for sure.
Now, the Chamber of Commerce is for business acumen people and for entrepreneurs. So tell us any incentives that the Chamber of Commerce can provide entrepreneurs.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that at the core, what a chamber is good for is it provides a voice to the business community. So the top function that we do is we advocate for businesses, anything from small mom and pops to the big, large corporations around town. So definitely being, as a business owner, you are seen as like a leader in your community. Definitely benefit of that. So meeting other like-minded individuals like yourself, right?
Yeah.
If you're a business owner, and just kind of learning around what's going on with the community at large. So
now, this room that we're in, this is a meeting room.
Yes,
correct.
This is our boardroom. So we host a lot of our full staff meetings here, some board meetings. These are rollaway tables, so it also surfaces if we do receptions in here as well. Can hold about 100 people with cocktail tables, so it's nice.
Love it. And I love the pictures. I noticed that when you were kind of giving us a tour earlier before this whole video, there was a ton of pictures on the walls. Is there anything in what is your favorite picture in here? I'm gonna keep asking him what's his favorite stuff.
That's a good question. I do like the Spurs one. That's just because I'm a big Spurs fan.
Yeah.
I think every painting that you see here is done by Bob Howden. So
you did show us this wall.
Yes.
This is such a cool wall. Tell us about it.
So this is a little bit of San Antonio history and chamber history. This is every single photo you see here is a past chair of the Chamber of Commerce. So this organization was started in 1894. So we've had almost 130 chairmen and women in our time, and a lot of these individuals in their time periods, you can see they're kind of broken up into eras, nominated and elected to lead the chamber, and there's been a lot of really cool projects that have impacted San Antonio's history, from the creation of the Riverwalk to the Hemisphere World's Fair, things like construction of the Alamo Dome, the Callister Freeway.
Yeah, I saw McDermott back there. He's a big name in San Antonio. Wolf, Nelson W. Wolf.
Absolutely.
So it's really interesting to I didn't know this was here, so it's really fascinating. And this is the current chairman, correct?
Yes, so Katie Harvey is our current chairwoman. She has sat on the chair for 2023. She's the CEO of KGB Texas. Okay, so a big awesome thing that we do here is...
Did you say Austin thing?
Awesome.
Oh, I
no, not Austin.
Austin. I was like, cut. We're not talking about Austin in this video.
Definitely not. So we host a lot of our chamber family parties here. The river parades come through here. We just had the Dias de los Muertos parade, the Christmas parade, Fiesta. It's a really good spot. It's definitely a perk of the job. The Chamber actually owns the building. A little interesting fact of it is this used to be the headquarters for the World's Fair. So they could see the tower go and get constructed. And then I believe, and this is, you're gonna have to maybe fact check me on this, but I believe that Red McCombs sold the Chamber of Commerce the building for $1. So we actually sit on city land, but we own the building.
Very cool.
Very nice.
Okay.
So, in a very big developing downtown space, you know.
Yes.
It was a very, very generous gift by him, you know, to help us operate more efficiently, that we're not renting out of space, but we own it. So it's very cool.
Thank you for showing us this spot. I absolutely love it. And you guys have a perfect view of the river parades. And some of the parades, so any of the parades pass by on the street here?
Yeah, so Fiesta will pass by Alamo and Commerce. I mean, we're 1 block away. The Alamo is just on the other side of this building. So.
Now take us to your favorite painting.
Okay. So
tell us a little bit about the downtown life, all of the things that are going on, because there's so much construction being done.
Oh, yeah.
Alamo's going this whole new different phase.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about it, because y'all are in the heart of downtown. So there's so much going on. And just kind of give me some details about y'all's involvement in this location and just being around all of this action.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Alamo Plaza being constructed is going to be a really cool point. As someone who works and lives downtown, I quite literally walk to work every morning. I've always said like the downtown center needed a place for people to congregate, right? Something to do that's not necessarily just sitting at a table and paying for a bunch of some free things that you can kind of hang out with. So I think the city is really moving in that direction, right? Things to be a hub, right? We've seen it with locations like the Pearl or in Southtown where people just want to go hang out on a Saturday all day and maybe get, you know, a few drinks or bring the kids out for fun. So there's been a ton of development in that sense, right? Going all the way back to 2008 when a big, gigantic bond passed to revitalize downtown. We're starting to see a lot of the fruits of labor of that.
Let's go to your favorite painting.
It's right here.
Ah, perfect. So
this is it's a painting.
It's of one of the missions.
Yes, but this one's my favorite for sure. I mean, it's beautiful. It captures the spirit of, you know, San Antonio. Obviously, the missions are a massive part of our history, right?
For sure.
The Alamo being the church is one of them. So, welcome to my office.
Dun, dun, dun. So I know that the Chamber of Commerce does monthly events, correct? Where do you guys tend to gravitate towards for the meetings, and what are those kind of events for?
Sure. So we do a monthly networking event. This is just something for all of our members to do. You know, it's very important for a big, large base of our members to meet other business owners, right? To create contacts and grow their network, right? Because a lot of the times you'll hear your network is your net worth, right? So we usually do a larger networking event once a month. It's just really going to depend on where, as far as the location. This year we got very clever. Shout out to our events team for that. We decided we're going to open the floor to our members who would choose to host us. And we had amazing feedback from that. So thank you for everyone who's done that.
Wow.
So, we've had Devil's River Whiskey. We've had Howl at the Moon. We just did Dave & Buster's. Let's see, Andretti's go-karting on 1604.
Chicken and Pickle was another one.
We've done Top Golf. So it's really just been the community stepping up and saying, hey, we would love to host you guys and work with you. And we're saying that's awesome. That's the kind of thing that, you know, we try to aim for is, you know, community building.
Yeah, so as a member consultant, how do you help people become from a non-member to a member? Like, what is your step in the process of someone thinking about joining the Chamber of Commerce? Sure.
So a lot of it's going to be introduction. I think everybody kind of is familiar with the Chamber of Commerce. They're in pretty much every city. They're just not necessarily familiar with what they do. And we do a whole bunch of stuff. It's not just a networking event once a month, right? But it really just depends on what kind of business you are, where you're at, how you're looking to integrate within the community, which is going to make all the difference in your experience with the Chamber. So, you know, if you're a small mom and pop shop, you probably need a lot of visibility and credibility, right? Which ultimately will lead to business growth, right? To say, hey, we're here in the community, this is what we do. Yeah. You know, if you're a medium to larger size corporation around here, a lot of the conversation is things like, you know, we're X company, HEB or something, we employ thousands of people here, right? Well, if those thousands of people have to live in San Antonio, well, where do they live? And what are those areas like? Are they safe? do they have parks that are available for their children, you know, like what are the conditions of their life. So they really want to focus in a larger picture of development for San Antonio and what that looks like in 20, 50 years in the future.
Nice. And you said that, of course, Chamber of Commerce doesn't just do networking events. So what other types of things does the Chamber of Commerce do for businesses and entrepreneurs?
Sure. So something that's super relevant right now is voting. So we have a public policy team that's amazing. We have advocacy in Austin, which is our Texas capital, and in DC. A lot of it is ear to the ground, what's going on locally at a state level and at a federal level, kind of figuring out what those agendas and priorities are. We take a consensus from a lot of our businesses that serve on our committees and councils. We say, hey, as a business leader or owner and representing this part of the industry, this is very important to us, right?
Yes.
And we think that our elected officials need to be made aware of these things, right? Either for or against. So we have our councils that submit that, and then we try to get that into writing to say, hey, this is what San Antonio needs for this industry because this is important for us, right?
Yes. And I know that a few months ago, Gabriel and I attended you guys haven't done it in a while. From what I remember, it was the annual, or it was like where everybody gets together and it was kind of like a big update. So it was like the past, present, and future. Yeah. Really loved it. Really loved to be a part of that. Speaking of the voting, I know that they were celebrating kind of against Prop 8 at the time. So it's just really cool how we got a bunch of feedback and we can see the efforts of being a part of the Chamber of Commerce.
Sure. And I think to get technical, because if someone from policy watched this, Proposition A is...
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
I was like...
8 is what's being voted on.
Yes,
currently.
not going to lie. I was like, when you were talking, I was like, is it A or 8? Is it
Close
A or
enough.
8?
I just, for the sticklers out there, I understand it's YouTube.
Thank you for fixing that. So how many members do you know are in the Chamber of Commerce in San Antonio?
So we're just around, just under 2,000.
Okay. And what are y'all wanting to do in order to, I know you guys also were talking about the feature in that meeting and broadcasting, how can we reach more people? How can we reach more businesses, entrepreneurs? What are y'all's plans for that? Do you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a strategic plan that's in place, left by our former CEO who had been in the chamber for 15 years, and he worked in conjunction with our past chair of last year. We call it our strategic plan initiative. It's a 3-year plan that's going to, we're rolling it out. We're at the end of the first year now, but really a lot of the focus there is awareness and engagement, right? This Chamber of Commerce in any city, especially this one, it takes a village. So, you know, a lot of the stuff that the Chamber's been doing in the past could not have been done without its members. It's not us staff sitting around here saying, you know what, I think we should build a river walk, right?
Yeah.
Like it is the members that come with the idea, and the table, the chairs, the chamber is essentially at the table and chairs around where people meet, right? And that's what we try to be. We try to facilitate a lot of conversation. So awareness and that's what the chamber does. Okay, cool. Well, how do I become a part of that, right?
Yeah.
Where do I fit in that role, right? Maybe I'm a small business owner that thinks something like the World's Fair is a great idea, but not really your space, right? But there's a lot of economic development that has to happen in all circles.
Yeah.
Different
So
markets.
can you tell us any new cool ideas coming up? Can you give us the chisme?
The chisme. Well, nothing that I'm personally a part of. I'm not personally part of it, but there has been a lot of rumblings about the San Antonio missions. I don't know anything on that, so I can't give you any 411. Civic Park is going to open up across the street.
Yes. So are there any recent ones that you're like, oh, wow, that was a really good decision that was...
Yeah, so I don't remember the year, so you can't get me wrong, but the chamber with Richard Perez, our former CEO, was really integral in pumping a lot of water to San Antonio, right? I think a lot of cities have a water shortage, so we definitely made sure to work on this project to secure clean and fresh water for San Antonio. You know, I don't think a lot of people know this, but if you go under downtown, there's a stretch of just a massive water channel that's underneath downtown. A lot of our water is recycled, which is really cool. And I think that's probably, I know it's not super, super exciting to hear about water, but I think that's definitely something that's very necessary that a lot of people just don't spend their days thinking about, but it's very important for our community residents.
Yeah, and I think at the same time, it's not an issue for you or for somebody until it's an issue. And I think water is a huge thing that people are struggling with right now, especially in California. So for us to not have to worry about that, at least right now, that is really beneficial to everybody.
Exactly, and that's really behind the scenes sort of deal, but I think infrastructure and development like that is similar to real estate, right? It's like the best time to do it was 10 years ago. So,
should have bought a house when I was 9.
Right, exactly.
Now, of course, we know how to become a part of the Chamber of Commerce because we are a part of the Chamber of Commerce, but how does someone become a member, and what are their steps? The first 3-4 steps to do.
Absolutely. So really just starts with a conversation of someone like me, myself or on my team. Really what we try to do is figure out what kind of business you are, where you could essentially be plugged in, right? What are the conversations and who do you need to be having those conversations with, right? So reaching out to us here at the Chamber would be a great way to start that. Just to kind of learn a little bit more, ask your questions, because there's a million and we do a million different things. But that would be the very, very first step. With that in mind, I would maybe ask yourself, what, if you're a business owner, entrepreneur, or anything in the, is what do I want to be as a business owner, as a local leader, right? And, if I want to get involved in the community, at what capacity, right? How do I want to take that step to lead, to meet other people, and really take your business from where it's at to where you ultimately want it to be? Absolutely.
And can you tell us about the cost of membership?
Sure. So this is a 501c6, so we are a membership organization. There are different tiers and levels because there are different size businesses. So it really just depends on your level of involvement, which would, I guess, equate to membership level dollars or donation, is based on where you need to be.
Okay.
So, obviously, not everybody's HEB or USA. So,
pretty much.
There's no expectation for someone small business to support in that capacity, but it definitely varies.
So tell us about the next networking event and give us a little bit more details about that.
Good question.
And what, date, time, location?
Unfortunately, because it's November, we are not going to have one.
Is it because of Thanksgiving?
It's because of the holiday season. It's very difficult to get everybody together. If we did have one, it'd have to be relatively soon, and we just haven't had plans for it. We have. It's exciting. It's exciting for things that are coming up and what the future holds for San Antonio, and just to be in that room and just to hear a lot of the really cool stuff is amazing.
Very cool. Is there anything I didn't hit upon that you want to say about the Chamber of Commerce for all the people of YouTube watching, especially those located in San Antonio and especially entrepreneurs and business people?
As a former business owner, I think what's very important is you have support, right? You have a community behind you, whether that's friends or family or other business owners, people that are going through it with you, right? Because it's not easy, especially if you're a small business owner. No, it's not. I mean, a lot of the times there's a blurred line between business and personal, and I think support can really help with that, right? And whatever that means to you, whatever you need, if it's support from an organization like this that can say, hey, what can we help you with? Let's point you in these directions, because we know pretty much everybody in town. To the bigger conversations of this is a very specific industry you work in, and you notice there's not a lot of regulation or rules or guidelines around these sort of things, and you feel like, hey, this could be something that we could get businesses around town behind and support these causes. A lot of that's in the nonprofit space. So.
Definitely. And speaking of support, just personally want to say thank you. You did send us a lead. I have been in contact with him. He's back up in Minnesota, but we are currently in the works of figuring out what he wants to do, and whether he moves to Texas or somewhere else, or San Antonio or somewhere else. We just have been helping him along the way, just helping him figure out what he wants to do. So
cool.
Thank you for the lead. So speaking of support, and anytime Gabriel and I are talking about somebody who wants to join the Chamber of Commerce, we always bring up your name and give them your information too, because you've been
appreciate
extremely
that.
helpful to us the whole time.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Of
Yeah,
course.
that's awesome.
So why would somebody want to, in your opinion, start a business in San Antonio?
Yeah, I mean, I think that San Antonio offers a lot of potential and growth. You know, as someone who is young in my age demographic, not originally from here, from Corpus, I chose San Antonio and I chose to stay. And that's not slack to anybody else who wants to go to other cool, we won't mention their names, places. But
Yeah.
I think that the people that are here can see the potential of San Antonio. And like they're, in my mind, I like people like that because they're forward thinking. They're like, there's a lot of potential here. There's a lot of growth. The culture is still very similar to what it was. It hasn't changed. And the city does a very, very good job of trying to hold on to that, right? Things like Fiesta, the historic commission that, you know, has all the rules about the buildings and the development and stuff to really keep San Antonio that old school feel, right?
Yeah.
I think that would be a good reason to want to start a business in San Antonio, just because of the opportunity. And, you know, there's a lot of things that we have that could be better, or there's some things that we don't have, some new ideas that are coming out of these major hubs around the United States that would be really awesome and probably received well here.
Yeah, and I've heard a lot of people say, especially those coming to live in San Antonio, San Antonio has
Big town, small city.
big town, small city, but it's also like that big town with a small town feel.
Yeah,
Town feel.
I understand. And that's very true. People are very friendly here. You know, you have your little pockets of where you want to go, but everybody's so nice. I think it's just a mixture of the culture, the cultura. We have a lot of military in the space, right? People that have served at one of the bases around town, and then when they transition out of the services, they say, "Hey, well, we really like San Antonio. It's a great place for family," so they come back. And I think all of that kind of provides the culture background of what makes us so friendly.
Yeah, and of course, being part of Chamber of Commerce, we have to follow the growth of San Antonio. Are there any statistics that you know about San Antonio, or for business owners specifically, that are really beneficial, that have kind of impacted, especially the Chamber of Commerce or just entrepreneurs in general?
Sure. Off the top of my head, I don't have those numbers, but I definitely do. You can call into the chamber and find out if you're curious.
Okay.
But no, there's definitely a lot of development around town. I mean, obviously, if you guys are in the real estate world, right? North has always grown from I-10 to 35, especially. That corridor is something that we were working well with Greater San Antonio, Greater SATX, and Opportunity Austin. Those are two economic development arms of San Antonio. Really the focus there is that's an inevitability, right?
Yeah, it is.
Regardless of if we see it in our lifetime or in future generations, it'll become what Dallas-Fort Worth is. So how do we get ahead of that? How do we start planning for stuff like that?
Yeah.
So great opportunity there. And then of course, the boom of the West Side. You know, it was
That's where we live.
Yeah, it's amazing.
We are aware of it.
I mean, it was 10 years ago. It was just a bunch of flat grassland.
It was. I was telling Gabriel the other day. I remember when Petrenko or 604 were just 2 lanes, and it was just nothing but just grass, trees, land, and you would see like a house here and there. So it's booming big time.
Right. Which is good. I think that's for the best, right? You know, more people, more economic dollars allows the city to do more things, right? And there's a lot of things that, you know, I obviously won't touch on, but there's a lot of things that the city needs, the city has in its works, and it's really hard to do without support of a larger community, right? And more people always equals more support. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's say there's a business outside of San Antonio. They see San Antonio booming. They're like, man, I need to make that move. What are some incentives, or like to just bring all of that to San Antonio? What can the Chamber of Commerce do for them?
Sure. So what I've seen actually domestically and internationally is that we've had a lot of people come to San Antonio. I think opportunity, as we said earlier, honestly the cost as well. We are not as expensive as some major cities, especially in Texas. I think that there's definitely a hole where you can kind of find your niche. I mean, you can drive around San Antonio and it can feel like a different city, completely different city from...
The East Side and West Side are 2 completely different entities. I'm just going to say that right now, just the 2 completely different areas. And it's north and south. It's just It's crazy.
So there's pockets of San Antonio where you're like, am I still even in the same city? You know? So I think it's really easy to find a home that way. Kind of what fits with your, kind of lifestyle or identity, right?
Yeah.
We are very open and friendly people, as we said before.
Yes.
I always say to people, if you want to come to San Antonio and you've never been here, you wear two things. You wear a Spurs jersey or a Selena shirt, and you will be everybody's favorite friend.
Yeah. So. That's great way. Or you don't talk bad about Whataburger or HEB either.
Yeah, I feel like that might just be a Texas thing, yeah. Something that I've noticed in my time is that we've had a lot of economic and business interest coming in from, places like Monterrey or Mexico City.
Yeah,
I think it makes a lot of sense. Definitely for me, something I'm passionate about, right, as parents who were immigrants is like, if you're going to move your business from another country across the border to, I guess you kind of look at the whole United States, where should I land? I think San Antonio is the greatest place for that, right? The culture is very similar. We have a very big, Hispanic population. And obviously we have a ton of opportunity. We are directly connected to Laredo, which is the largest inland port in the United States. We have Corpus and Houston, which are two major ports. We have the 35 straight to Austin that goes all the way to Dallas, and then we have I-10 West that goes out to El Paso, California. So if you look at San Antonio on a map and zoom out a little bit, you'll see all of these 5 major highways connected to the city, and it being affordable, it being, a very kind of heavy like manufacturing and blue collar city. I think it's a great idea to move your business here.
So of course, San Antonio and Austin are slowly becoming more and more connected. But when do you think that will kind of let up, and when do you think that's actually going to start actually happening?
Well,
give a projected timeline, like even if it's a personal idea.
A personal idea. I mean, growing up in this area, I remember driving from San Antonio to Austin. I remember there being stretches of land where it was nothing. Yeah. I hope you don't run out of gas right here because there's nothing. Yeah. I can't think of a spot from here to New Braunfels to San Marcos to Buda, Kyle. There's no empty space anymore. So I think it's already happening. When it becomes just one major highway strip, maybe 100 years, I don't know, with how fast everything's advancing in technology. I would like to see something cool and innovative like a Hyperloop, so,
I like how you mentioned how San Antonio is costly effective, especially compared to Dallas, Fort Worth, Houston, Arlington area, or in Austin too. Of course, everybody's like, well, what's the differences between Austin and here? Speaking on the Chamber of Commerce, because we can come from like a personal place and why they're so drastically different, but from a business standpoint, in your opinion, how is Austin different from San Antonio?
Well, Austin has done a very, very good job of just being beautiful. It's a very good spot that's attracted a lot of, a lot of companies, a lot of headquarters want to move to Texas in general. So when you look at it, like, where am I going to go? And it's like, oh, well, if, the downtown scape of Austin is, Lady Bird Lake, it's beautiful, there's a lot of trails. The kind of culture there is around being outside and in nature, and I think they've done a very good job with that. They're also very, very, a lot of the types of businesses that go there too, they're heavy in technology, and definitely like kind of in that space. I think it's lovely. I think what you find here is in San Antonio, we have a ton of headquarters of larger companies that have started here and have stayed here. USAA being one of them, right? They started with a bunch of Army folks, and they expanded out, and they still have their headquarters here. I mean, the headquarters has moved around a bunch, but they have a massive complex on the I-10 side, right? HEB headquarters is just over off 281. HEB headquarters is just south of Whataburger, is just off 281. I think Rackspace was originated from here. I think San Antonio, and this coming from the Chamber of Commerce perspective, not personal, I think that there's a lot of things that go unseen that make it, a hub spot for a lot of businesses that become massive, right? We have Geekdom in the Rand building downtown. They're doing amazing things over there. They have started their incubator startup hub. They provide a bunch of services like Startup Day, Startup Week. They have, competitions, pitch competitions for grants and exposure and things like that. And there's been some very successful companies that have come out of, we're talking, they're closing Series Bs for 150 million. And, I imagine that, Silicon Valley had to get started somewhere in some capacity, right? And I'm not going to say we're Silicon Valley 2.0, but I think that is potential of San Antonio versus Austin. Now, Austin definitely has its growth too, but
definitely for sure.
You're not getting startups that are trying to rent out space there because it's very expensive. So.
We all know where the Pearl is. So on the other side of the Pearl, which is of course inside 35, 37, where kind of I-10, the 281 meets, right? And I think it's also close to where that You Are Beautiful, the parking garage. And that sign that says You Are Beautiful.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about? Okay, so that location on that side. Okay. Red McComb, he bought like 6 acres of land close to that area, and they were trying to make it this sort of new district. Do you have any information on it? Because I feel like every time I bring up this article, nobody knows about this thing, and I'm like, did it not pass? Was it not supposed to go through? Or like, what happened? Because there's something being built there, or there's supposed to be. And I heard, and when I was reading the article, it was supposed to be this really cool thing because they're trying to build up the nightlife in San Antonio. But I have yet to see anything about it, and it's frustrating me. Okay, yeah, I can definitely tell you. I think JLL is on a project around that area by the San Antonio Museum. And what they were trying to do is connect the Pearl to the North St. Mary's Strip, right? Yeah, to make it one walkability, just easy for tourists and stuff.
So when you drive over there, I think it's still under construction, so I don't know what their plans are, but I do definitely know that that's in the work, and that was public because I saw it on LinkedIn. So I'm not sharing any secrets there. But no, that's definitely been a focus of kind of San Antonio in general. Is we have hot spots, like we have Southtown, which if you haven't been, it's great. There's a lot of amazing food.
Southtown, yep.
And then you just follow Broadway straight up and you see the Pearl and all of the areas in between. And I think that that's going to be a very cool, key cultural spot for San Antonio.
Absolutely.
We actually have an ambassadors event on the 17th at Idle Beer Hall. And that's part of the Cavender Development District. So it's the old Cavender building. It's a brewery beer hall. Right next to it is going to be a food hall with, I think, like 8 or 9 different restaurant choices.
Wow.
And you can just kind of walk in between. There's been very successful businesses like Elsewhere and things around that area. So yeah, that when you say nightlife or trying to attract more attention, that those areas. I'm not crazy. No, you're not crazy. No.
Okay, I'm like, that's a perfect spot for it because it's going to connect or start connecting everything. So okay, just wanted to make sure I wasn't crazy.
No, you're not.
Okay,
for sure.
I was like, I know I read it, or was that like what they call it, like another dimension?
Yeah, another dimension. Well,
there's a glitch.
There's a bike lane that goes up too. It's brand new and built. It's beautiful. So yeah, check it out. You can scooter there, bike there, and.
Does the Chamber of Commerce look for specific type of businesses, or do you guys kind of accept all businesses? Kind of tell us.
Yeah, all businesses are equal and important. Obviously, there's a lot more small businesses than there are multi-billion-dollar corporations. But yeah, no, anything that we can help and advocate for, absolutely. We're here to support the business industry. And it's broken down by different verticals, right? Cybersecurity, healthcare, aerospace, even here in San Antonio.
Yeah.
Military affairs is huge, but really anybody that is in any business space is ultimately what we try to do. We try to be as inclusive as possible.
Of course, you know a lot of the members because you're a membership consultant. Tell us some unique businesses that a lot of people might not know that are in San Antonio.
Sure. So actually, one of my personal favorites is Astroport Space Technologies. They're located at the port. They have a whole museum, so it's super cool. But it'd be something that a lot of people just don't know, that this is the capability of San Antonio, and you would have no idea unless you were involved in something like this. But Sam Jimenez is the CEO over there, and they actually have a really cool contract that they were working on, that they are going to send a rover to Mars, and it's going to scoop up the moon dust essentially, and it's going to 3D print structures. So his title is a space architect, which I think is the coolest title ever, and I'm super jealous. But,
space architect.
Yeah, that's something that's happening in San Antonio that a lot of people would have no idea. But I mean, there's a ton of examples of that. So. I think that we're going to be a city to contend with in a few years, not just in population, but an economic impact.
Economic impact and social structure and just all of that stuff.
Absolutely.
So now's the time to move to San Antonio.
It is now as a time to move.
Now's the time to own a business in San Antonio.
Yes.
Okay.
And luckily, you know two amazing real estate agents. Here,
exactly. So speaking of, if you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in San Antonio, you can always reach Gabriel and I at 210-504-5301. But that's not really what this is about. If you're looking to, if you have a business and you haven't joined the Chamber of Commerce and you have more questions, please get in touch with Oliver. Oliver, if you can please give them your information and how they can get in touch with you.
Absolutely. So reach me out at Oliver. My name is Oliver Garnier. I'm here in membership of the San Antonio Chamber of Commerce. You can reach me at ogarnier@sachamber.org, or my direct line is 210-229-2190.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Oliver, for allowing us to come in here and take up your time. I know you're super busy, you have a lot going on, but allowing us to check out the building. We've yet to see this full entirety of it, so thank you for showing us the wall and the outside. We truly appreciate all the support you've been giving us from the very beginning to now, and continuing to just build upon that. So Oliver is a great connection to have. As you can see, there's so many people to get in touch with if you have any more questions, and Oliver can be the perfect person to kind of facilitate that for you. So if you didn't hear this information, his information is going to be down below. Gabriel will post it. We really truly appreciate the support, and get in touch with Oliver. You won't regret it at all. And we will see you guys on the next one. Bye.